I bought the PlayStation Now service a few months back when it was on sale and had enjoyed a few games here and there. My biggest gripe with the service is the overabundance of indie titles. I've been looking for something new to play and came across Armageddon Riders. From the opening plot scroll, I knew it wasn't going to be anything special, but after playing the first race, I knew I had to review it. I wasn't entirely sure how well the recording would look, considering that I was using PS Now to stream the game, so I went on my PS3 and looked up the cost. Since it was only $10, I decided to go ahead and purchase it. Was it worth it? Yes and no. Armageddon Riders is a racing type of game where you drive around a small city completing races, collecting strange glowing dots that are supposed to be artifacts, and running over zombies. Yep, this is another zombie game. They primarily just focus on speed bumps though, as you can never get out of your vehicle. They can do damage to your car, and you can be destroyed due to them, but it doesn't happen often. Before I get onto the gameplay, I want to talk about the story. It is completely nonsensical. As I said at the start, the game begins with a text crawl, where it's talking about Atom City, where the game takes place, and some device known as the Collider transformed everyone except for you and a small other handful of people into the previously mentioned Walking Dead. Now you want to drive around in a heavily modified vehicle to find a way to heal everyone. And that's really all there is in regards to story. Seriously, the next time I see anything resembling a plot is in the ending, where you get another text scroll that goes on about 3 different groups talking about the Collider. I couldn't make any sense out of the plot, and it's entirely forgettable. In fact, with the whole apocalyptic Collider story, I felt like it was supposed to be a spin-off of the Stalker Metro series of games. So let's move on to the gameplay, which happens to be the real meat of most games. You drive around in Atom City, and there are a few points of interest that will be pinned on your map. Once you arrive at one of these mission points, you press L1 and R1 together to start it. Or you can drive right on through and ignore it. Completely up to you. Before you get to do this, though, you do get a small tutorial mission where you have to save someone. I'm not sure why it starts out this way, but you will get some hints on what different power-ups are and how to get rid of the zombie hitchhikers. There are several different mission types available. The tutorial mission where you have to save a quote-unquote sidekick doesn't really appear anywhere else other than some side jobs that you can opt to do. There are, of course, plenty of races, and although most of them are circuit races consisting of laps, there are a select few that are point-to-point sprints. There are some missions where you have to kill a certain amount of zombies within a specified time limit. There's Bodyguard, where a friend is trying to collect artifacts, and you're trying to blow up any opposition. There are also 2 different versions of the artifact hunt for yourself. One where you have opponents racing you to the artifacts, and others where you're just going against the clock. There may seem to be a nice variety, but the majority of the events do seem to be races. If you prefer to do one of the other non-traditional races, you will find yellow zones on the map. These are the side missions of the game, and can be done often to help increase your cash reserves. You may want to do this too, as if you don't, your vehicle may be badly underpowered for later events. So let's talk about the gameplay. Each event contains anywhere from 4 to 6 opponents. Just like you, they can be destroyed and therefore eliminated from the event if you have the opportunity to do some damage. Truthfully, it's never really wise to do this unless you know you won't screw yourself over, because it's easy enough for your opponents to spin you out. Then again, that's where the zombies come into play. Sure, they will do damage to you. Some may explode or somehow wield flamethrowers, but most of them may try to leap onto the hood of your car and start smashing their fists on it. This will cause a slow but steady amount of damage until you can shake them off. If you're not careful, they may even enter your car, and you'll need to smash L3 to punch them out. If you don't, again, they'll just keep doing damage to you. But of course, you don't want that, and you'll be killing a lot of the corpses. This will attribute to your boost availability. Each hit will increase your boost gauge, along with some airtime. If you're good at smacking zombies, you can keep that boost gauge filled and therefore keep your speed high. And you're going to want to keep a steady supply of boost coming in, because your opposition will remain relentless, and you're going to need that boost to remain at a top speed. The biggest opponent isn't the zombies or the other racers. Actually, it's the controls. They are incredibly slippery, and it's very difficult to keep your car moving in a straight line because of it. At first, I thought it was because I was playing it on the PS Now service, as there is some input lag that I have noticed. That's actually the main reason I decided to splurge and spend the $10. But nope. I felt like every turn had me smacking walls. Going off ramps, I almost always had trouble remaining straight. It's very noticeable, and is a huge issue with the game. It helps to contribute to the overall low-budget feel of the game. But that's not the only low-budget item. The tutorial feels half-assed and consists of simple pop-ups that appear at times to give you hints. Some of the pop-ups have some broken English, although it's still easy enough to understand what the message is. There are also power-ups included in the game. Some repair your vehicle, some replenish your boost, and some just give you some extra cash. Yet the oddball one is a music icon, which makes a specific group start dancing? And the game also shows a Pac-Man icon to indicate how much time is left to find and smash them. It feels so out of place, it's not even funny. Even the final mission where you have to kill all 300 zombies within 30 minutes have a Pac-Man idea, as there are other cars that can do heavy damage to you if they collide with you. And if you can grab a shield for yourself, the enemy vehicles will lose their shields, turn, and run away. It's kind of a neat idea, but again, these two Pac-Man references feel way too out of place in a game like this. The upgrade system also feels pretty bare bones. All that cash you earn can be used to purchase new vehicles and a very small selection of upgrades for each. Things that can crunch zombies under your fenders to better boosts. You can get some items that can be swung out to slay zombies at your sides much easier. Finally, there's something called a shocker, which is used to knock off riding zombies. This does use up a small portion of your boost though, but it's usually worth it to sacrifice that other than your life. Oh, and the thing I hate the most about that? You don't press a button to use this weapon. Instead, you shake the controller. That's right, a little bit of waggle is needed to shake off the zombies. Although I wasn't really a fan, I did get used to it fairly quickly. Let's go back to the garage, which is where you can change out and upgrade your vehicles. There are 3 categories of stats that you can view from here. But why are the squares just simply gray boxes? I feel like there should have been something included in here, like some sort of icon or something, but nope. It makes no sense. The thing is, the game as a whole feels somewhat solid, if not a bit bland in play mechanics. The game's world is incredibly small, and although you do eventually unlock small extra parts to Atom City, overall I didn't feel like it was large enough to work towards that trophy obtained by spending 10 hours playing the game. In case you're wondering, I completed it in about 3 or 4 hours, and that's even with spending some spare time doing the side missions for money. But the small 24 or so main missions were at times fun to play. Sure, it started off a bit boring, but about an hour in, I found myself kind of enjoying the game. I enjoyed mowing down zombies and winning races. The tracks were fun to race on, and there was a decent selection of race types. But as soon as I started thinking I was wrong at first to think that the game was subpar, I then got to the events inside the legendary Collider. The game takes a very serious downward spiral at this point. All events then take place inside of it, and look at it. Fun for a minute, but then you realize trying to win races in this thing gets frustrating due to the tube-like pathways. I've ended up in my roof more times than I can count. If I still was able to do a few more races in above ground areas of the city, I probably would have been fine with a few Collider races. But nope. At that point, it's all Collider, all the time. To me, it felt like the game then just started to drag out with these events, and I just wanted it all to be over. I will say this about the game though. The visuals are fairly well done. I never found any glitches, and the blood splatter getting on the camera when running down zombies is satisfying. The fire from explosions looks a bit strange, but again, the game was only $10, so I really can't expect much. I think that's all I got for Armageddon Riders. It has its moments, but I just can't say I fully enjoyed myself playing it. If anything, it felt like a mindless time killer that got frustrating once the Collider stages were introduced. If the game would have stayed above ground and focused more on the zombies, racing, and Atom City itself, I think I would have scored it a little bit higher. It also would have been nice to have a more in-depth story other than, hey, there's this device that did bad things and I want to fix it. The controls should really have been made smoother too, as trying to control your car can be a nightmare at times. So would I recommend it? It's hard to say. Maybe if it drops to $5, sure. But at the current price of $10, I can't say it's worth it. Unless you have PlayStation Now though. If so, you can just play it as part of the cost of the service. Just know that if you play it in any way, you just need to remember to go in expecting it to play like a budget downloadable title. Final score? 3 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.